There's a moment every man remembers, not the victories, not the applause, but the exact second he realized he bent too far, smiled when he should have stayed silent, laughed at a joke made at his expense, agreed with something that tasted like poison in his mouth. That is the moment you lower yourself. And the worst part, nobody comes to pull you back up. You did it to yourself. This isn't a guide for being nice. This isn't about becoming a people pleaser wrapped in the mask of wisdom. This is about steel in the spine, blood in the teeth, and a mind that will not kneel, not to opinions, not to fake power, not to empty threats. The Stoics lived and died by these truths because they knew something most men today have forgotten. You only fall when you decide to bow. Let's get into the 7 lessons that will make you immune to humiliation and dangerous to anyone who tries. 1. Measure yourself by your own standards, not others' reactions. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's not just a cute quote, it's a declaration of war against the human addiction to approval. You've been trained since birth to read faces for approval. Teachers, parents, bosses, lovers. One smile and you feel 10 feet tall. One frown and you shrink into dust. But here's the truth. If your worth depends on their reaction, you've already sold it for scraps. Imagine a warrior who fights only when the crowd cheers. He's not a warrior, he's a performer. Your standards are the only thing you should measure yourself by. If you said you'd wake up at 5 a.m. and train, then do it. Even if the world laughs at your over-the-top discipline. If you promised yourself you'd walk away from toxic people, do it. Even if they smear your name. A man with his own standards is untouchable. The moment you stop asking, do they approve, and start asking, did I keep my word to myself, you stop being a pawn in other people's games. 2. Master yourself, and dignity follows. The problem is most men think dignity is something the world gives you when you earn enough, look good enough, or get enough followers. But dignity isn't a trophy, it's a fortress you build inside. You can lose your money, your job, your reputation, but if you control your impulses, your rage, your cravings, and your fear, they can strip you naked in the street, and you'll still stand like a king. Look at the difference. A man ruled by anger can be baited into saying something stupid. A man ruled by lust can be led anywhere by the promise of skin. A man ruled by greed can be bought. But a man who rules himself, he is the rarest creature alive, because nobody can pull his strings. 3. Real impact doesn't require a spotlight. We live in a world where men think their worth is measured in views, likes, and public praise. But the Stoics understood that the loudest man in the room is often the weakest. Works unseen are better than works seen. Impact doesn't come from screaming your virtues into the void. It comes from living them in silence. Think of the nameless samurai who guarded their lords for decades, dying in the shadows without anyone outside the castle walls knowing their names. Think of the old master in an anime who trains the young hero in secret, never taking credit when the hero saves the world. That's the essence of real impact. You do it for the act itself, not for applause. If the only reason you do good is for recognition, you've already made recognition your master. 4. Don't pay the price of silence when your voice could heal you. The Stoics weren't cowards. They didn't avoid conflict because they feared it. They avoided it because they didn't waste words. But when the truth was necessary, they spoke it with precision like a blade. Silence can be noble, but sometimes it can also be poison. If you bite your tongue when injustice claws at your gut, you're not being wise, you're being complicit. Picture this. You watch someone humiliate you in front of others. You tell yourself, stay calm, but deep down you're swallowing venom. That venom doesn't go away. It hardens you in the worst way. Stoicism is not suppression, it's mastery. And mastery sometimes means cutting through the air with a single necessary truth. Speak when silence costs your soul more than words ever could. 5. Self-love isn't a reward for perfection, it's fuel for growth. Here's the problem with most self-love advice. It's soft. It tells you to love yourself no matter what, which sounds nice until you use it as an excuse to never improve. The Stoics saw it differently. They believed in loving yourself the way a warrior loves his blade, not because it's flawless, but because it's worth sharpening. If you only allow yourself pride after you've become perfect, you'll never get there. Instead, treat self-respect like fuel. Use it to keep training, keep building, keep facing your fears. A blade that is loved is sharpened, oiled, and prepared, not left to rust until it's good enough to care about. You are not a finished product, you are a weapon in the making. Act accordingly. 6. Never bargain away your self-respect. A man can recover from losing money, status, even freedom, but once you trade away your self-respect, you are bankrupt in the worst way. You know exactly when you've done it. That handshake you shouldn't have made, that fake smile, that yes when you knew the answer was no, it's a debt you carry in your chest, and it eats you alive. The Stoics would rather be hated for holding the line than loved for crawling. This is why Cato the Younger would rather plunge a sword into his chest than live under Caesar's rule, because to him, breathing without honor was worse than death. Every compromise of your self-respect is a chain. One day, you'll look around and realize you built your own cage. 7. The path teaches what the destination never could. Modern men are obsessed with the end goal, the money, the house, the perfect body, the dream life. But the Stoics understood the real treasure isn't at the end. It's in the grind, the struggle, the war you fight every day. Think of Miyamoto Musashi, undefeated in more than 60 duels. Do you think the last fight was the one that made him who he was? No. It was the hundreds of hours of training in the rain, the lonely nights on the road, the times he fought hunger and fatigue more than human opponents. The destination is just a photo. The path is the story. The bruises, the mistakes, the failures. That's where the real transformation happens. And when you embrace that truth, you stop rushing, you start walking with your head high, because you know every step, even the painful ones, is carving you into something sharper. The last stand. The world will never stop testing you. It will try to drag you into the mud with petty games, bait you into pointless fights, shame you into submission, or bribe you with comfort until you forget who you are. Most men fold under that pressure because their foundation is made of sand. But Stoicism is about forging a self so solid, so unshakable, that no insult, no temptation, no false promise can make you bend. This is not just philosophy, so it's a form of war. Every day is a battlefield, and the enemy is anything that makes you kneel. Measure yourself by your own standards, master yourself, work in silence, speak when it matters, love yourself like a blade, never sell your self-respect, and understand that the grind is the gift, the pain is the proof you're still in the fight. Because the day you live by these 7 truths is the day you stop bowing, not just for now, but for the rest of your life. And when that day comes, you won't just survive the world, you'll stand above it. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.